Oh, there we are. Okay. Okay, so is my slide? Oh, how's that look? That's pretty cool, huh? That's where I was last week, Banff, Canada, and I was able to go there with a group from the center. Um, every 2 years, CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, puts on what they call SOAR. Okay, and it's not like aches and pain; it's like SOAR. Um, and it's basically it's a retreat, and it's filled with incredible music and speakers and workshops, and it was amazing. It was great, and I know that Reverend Kathy and probably Reverend Connie are going to speak a lot about it. So I'm not going to speak too much about it because I don't want to give it too much away, but I do want to share with you a workshop that I attended there. And so it was titled Alchemy of Grace. Okay. What I didn't realize is that the workshop was actually about forgiveness. Had I known it was about forgiveness, I probably wouldn't have taken it because I don't have anybody to forgive. So I thought. So I get into this class, and the teacher is Dr. Reverend Michelle Wadley, no S, Wadley. And she's pretty renowned. She's written several books on forgiveness and also on doing shadow work and all kinds of stuff. And, I didn't really feel like I had anybody I needed to forgive. There wasn't anybody I could even think of that I couldn't approach and that sort of thing. But she presented it in a little different way. She said, now think about it in terms of energy. And think about it when you think back on a situation or a person or what have you, is there any angst, any little crumb of anger or, man, I should have said that, or that kind of thing? Within about 2 minutes, I had 14 people on my list. It was a whole different way to look at things, And so, and the thing is, I've been doing this for a number of years now, and back in the day, I know that forgiveness is something that is like your garden. It has to be tended to regularly. And so she described this, and it actually comes from Carolyn Mace. Anybody hear of Carolyn Mace? And she describes it as, just imagine that you have 10,000 fiber optics, okay, connected directly to source, okay? And all of them are lit up. However, when you hold these little angst, these little things, these little crumbs, it takes out one of those fiber optics. Now, Spirit is not taking it out. We are. We're blocking it. See? I want to make that clear. And I also want to say that, forgiveness, there are some pretty deep situations that require forgiveness, and I'm not going to get into that, but, in terms of abuse and that sort of thing, that this is a much bigger process, which, I'm just kind of letting you know that work needs to be done. That work needs to be done if you want to move into the higher levels of consciousness and that deeper connection with the divine. And so here I am looking at this list, and she says, okay, how many people have, who has the most or whatever? And so I said 14, but thank goodness there was a guy that had 17. So that made me feel a little better. So then she put this question up. And could I get a slide on that? This question, what did I make that mean? Oh, man, what did I make that mean? That's a very, very powerful question. Why? because it brings it back to me. And I'm the one with the power. I can change me. I can't change anything out there. Brings it back to me. What did I make that mean? Whew. So I went to bed, woke up about 3:30 in the morning, and my mind was processing like a mega computer, man. It was thinking about all this stuff, and I was like, okay, what did I make that mean? And what did I make that mean? And what did I make this mean? What did I make that mean? It was like, oh my goodness, I was overwhelmed. So I saw her just before we were going into the morning session, and I saw her, and I went up to her, and she didn't really know me. I mean, it was a pretty big workshop, a lot of people. I don't think she recognized me or anything, and I said, you kept me up all night. She laughed. I said, the question. She goes, oh yeah, she grinned. Yeah. What did I make that mean? Is that the one? I said, yes. She looks at me, she says, you're ready, and you have a lot of work to do. And I said, okay, great. So when I got back, what she said is, you're not finished. You're not finished, she said. I said, okay, great. And I don't think you ever are. It's an ongoing process, getting rid of those little angsts, So, a big part of this teaching is about letting go. You move through the different stages of consciousness, and in order to move out of victimhood, you have to let go of being a victim, right? Now that doesn't mean, and I want to make this clear too, people can be victimized. That doesn't mean that you're in a victim consciousness. Okay, make that clear. So there's a difference there. But in order to move out of the victim consciousness, you have to let go of being a victim. And so that's called life happens to me. And then the next stage is life happens by me, okay? And that's called the controller. That's where you're in control and you're fixing things. You're taking responsibility, but you actually believe that you can control everything. How's that work? Not very well, right? That doesn't work at all. In order to move out of the control, you have to let go of control, and then you begin to embrace and you work and co-creating with the divine. And then to move out of co-creation with the divine, we let go of any idea of separation. And now you're creating as life as me, and you're one. So that's where I want to be. So I want to get rid of these little blocks on my fiber optics, But this teaching is a lot about letting go. And so I want to kind of change gears and tell you another story about my son, Matthew, who's 32 now, but when he was 15, he was quite a handful. He wasn't, he grew up in elementary school and all through school, and he was like a perfect kid. I mean, he was amazing. Great grades, very well-rounded, played music. He played clarinet in elementary school for the high school band. He was first chair by the time he was in junior high. He played basketball. He's a point guard on the basketball team. He ran track. He ran cross country. Very well-rounded. Great kid. But he turned 15 and something happened. He started to become disengaged. And so he was from my first marriage. And so he lived with his mom, and he also lived with me. He went to school in Durham. And so we kind of got together, and we always have gotten together and really, really well. And we said, maybe he needs a change. Maybe he needs to go to PV high school. And so he moved in with me, and he wanted to do it too. He moved in with me, and he went to PV high school. And he went to his first day, and I got back from work, and I was so excited to hear how his first day went. and he didn't show up. He didn't come home. He was gone. I'm like, my sleuth wife on the computer went into his room and checked out his computer. That guy had gotten Greyhound tickets to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Now, this was in November. He was going to go, he wanted to go visit his uncle, who he never told about this trip, by the way. And so he took off. He didn't have a coat. He didn't have change of clothes. He didn't have anything. He just took off. Long story short, his mom and I kind of talked about it. We ended up letting him just go. And we told the uncle and all of that. Now, he did not want to talk to me about it. He did not want to communicate with me. He communicated with his mom, but he didn't want to communicate with me. And I got to tell you, I was spinning. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know, was it a drug thing? Was it a bully thing? What was going on in his mind? I had no idea. So I went to Dr. Carolyn. And I said, I told her about the situation. I said, are you teaching any classes? Why? Because classes are a great way to get your act together, okay? So and she said, no, but you know what? Somebody just left the practitioner class. Now, I had already taken practitioner work and already done it and decided I didn't want to be a practitioner. But she said, we have an opening here. Would you like to join the class? And I said, yes, I would join the class. So, can I have the next slide? So we talk about engage, embrace, and embody, right? And so my point of engaging was realizing that I was spinning and that I needed to get straight. And so I had to go to the divine. And so I walked into class, and they were reading this book. It's called The Universe is Calling, okay? And it was one of those deals where we were going around the classroom, and each person reads a paragraph. All right? And so it goes, somebody's reading this one, this one, this one. And then this paragraph is what was given to me to read. Thus, when you worry about a loved one, a child on the way home from school, the wayward youth who has run off to some commune, the husband with an alcohol problem, the friend in the hospital, you are putting the full weight of your consciousness on the side of their difficulty. You are hindering their progress. You actually become part of their problem. When you want to help someone about whom you are concerned, the important work is to be done in you. I see Dr. Carolyn smiling. Okay. As far as you are concerned, the problems out there, no matter what or whom they involve, exist in your mind. Your prejudices, your fears, and your anxious concern. So the work initially is to change your thoughts, to heal and resolve your concern. This is why it is so very difficult to pray for one you love, your child, your spouse, a very close friend. You may defend your anxious concern by saying, but you didn't understand. It's my baby. But I do understand, and I have been there. You must make a choice. Do you want to help your baby or another person, or do you insist on standing in their way? There's no way that was a coincidence. No way. And then you know what happened? I got a partner. And guess what? That partner had a teenager that was doing the same stuff. And so we did our work. You see, that truth right there, that gave me the embrace, something to hold on to. So engage, embrace, got a truth. Now you got to do the work. And the work for me was doing the treatment and working with this gentleman and doing our affirmations and all of that until I could finally embody it. How do I know I embodied it? Because I felt light. I wasn't worried anymore. You know what happened? He called me. He called me. Just like that. And we made amends. And we got closer than ever. And we're very close to this day. He's 32 years old. He's married. Has a little 2-year-old daughter. Glorious, glorious. I had to let go. So we didn't do a healing meditation, but we're going to do one right now. And so I invite you to just close your eyes. Allow your body to soften. Take a slow, deep breath in. And a gentle exhale out. And just imagine yourself sitting in a field of stillness. The air is fresh. The light is warm. In this place, there is nothing to fix, nothing to solve, nothing to control. You are in the presence of the one life that knows exactly what to do. In this moment, your only task is to open to it. Now bring to mind someone or something you've been holding concern with. A loved one you've been worried about. A situation you've been trying to figure out. A place in your life where you've been pushing for an outcome. Notice how it feels in your body as you think about this. Simply observe without judgment. Ernest taught us, when we worry, we put the weight of our consciousness on the side of the problem. When we push, we block. When we cling, we repel. See if you can recognize in this moment how your concern has been like gripping water in a fist. The tighter you hold, the more it slips through. And so today you choose to open your hand. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, feel yourself release this person, this situation, into the care of Spirit. This is where power resides. You are not abandoning them. You are no longer interfering with their unfolding. You are placing them in the infinite presence that loves them more than you can imagine. Repeat to yourself, I let go. I let God. I trust the divine to do the work. I am willing to be a channel, not a controller. I shift from by me consciousness to through me. You are no longer the doer. You are the place where spirit flows without resistance. Feel the ease of this. This is what Taoist wisdom calls Wu Wei, effortless action. Your energy shifts from tension to trust, from chasing to attracting. Everything you need comes to you naturally. Let go and allow. Let us rest in this together, in this wonderful awareness for just a few minutes. Now slowly begin the process of bringing your awareness back to your breath, and join me in this prayer. Beloved Presence, we thank you for the reminder that we are never alone, that we do not have to force or strive, that letting go creates room for miracles. We surrender the need to know how and open to the truth that all is unfolding in divine right order. And so it is.